Mr. Clouse, we'll begin with you.
Thank you for having me. Good afternoon. My name is Nicholas Clouse, and I want to thank Senator Blumenthal and Senator Cruz for the invitation for having me. In July of 2011, I was in a terrible car accident that left me with a traumatic brain injury, headaches, and memory loss. Thinking that someone might take advantage of me if I were to receive a large sum of money from a personal injury lawsuit, my parents convinced me they should become my legal guardians. They told me to sign a piece of paper and that would let them take care of the lawsuit so I could focus on recovery. There was no discussion about what this would mean or what rights would be taken away from me or whether something less restrictive might have met my needs at the time. I do not know whether a hearing was even held before a judge signed the order that essentially turned me back into a child in the eyes of the law. In September of 2014, I was blessed to meet my now wife, Chelsea, and the mother of my child. The symptoms from the TBI that had improved by that point, but my vision of the future was clouded by constantly being told that I could not do what I could not do. But when Chelsea looked at me, she saw who I could become. On Valentine's Day 2016, I asked Chelsea to marry me. I was excited to start a family, but my parents were extremely hesitant to allow me to work, let me get married. 2 months later, we found out Chelsea was pregnant. This was unquestionably the best thing that had ever happened to me. And I'm not sure my parents would have ever allowed me to get a job or move out if that hadn't happened. With a baby on the way by that summer, I had moved into Chelsea's house, which we still live in now. I worked full-time as a biotechnician at a nearby ethanol production facility. In December 2016, I became a father, but in many ways, my parents still treated me like a child. I had no control over my paychecks. I earned and had to get permission from my stepfather to buy diapers and formula for my daughter. My parents wholly controlled my earnings and refused to even provide the contact information for the trustee overseeing my settlement funds. I could make medical appointments for my daughter, but I was not allowed to make them for myself. My parents finally allowed Chelsea and I to get married in May of 2018. Before and after the wedding, I regularly asked my parents about ending the guardianship. They eventually arranged a meeting between their lawyer and my wife and I, or my soon-to-be wife and I, and basically told us that the guardianship was unable to go away, and they had the power to fight us if we ever contested it. When we heard about Indiana Disability Right, our state's protection and advocacy organization, and reached out to them in spring of 2020, I did not know what to expect without having any control over my finances. I had no way to hire my own attorney. If the IDR had not accepted my case and offered to represent me free of charge, I'm not sure if I ever would have had a path out. When the petition to terminate guardianship was filed January of 2021, my parents refused to even consider agreeing to it until I first underwent a psychological evaluation. When the evaluation was finally released The psychologist chosen by my parents determined that I had no need for legal guardianship. Sorry, I'm out of time. Do you want me to finish, or?
You can take a couple minutes more.
Thank you. After everything I've been through, I'm incredibly lucky to be in my current position. I have a wife who's my best friend and biggest supporter, and a healthy child who is the light of my life, close friends and family, and a successful career. If it was this difficult for me to be released from unnecessary guardianship, I cannot imagine what it is like for those who are not as privileged. We need better protections to keep this from happening, and we need more attorneys like Justin and the Indiana Disability Rights to enforce those protections. Thank you again, Senator Blumenthal and Senator Cruz and the rest of the subcommittee for having me.
Thank you. Thank you for that excellent testimony. I understand your wife may be with you today.
Yeah.
You can acknowledge her if you wish. Thank you.